What I learned from a year single and celibate. A year ago today, I left my last relationship. 11/11/22. I literally, in a fit of rage, had a task rabbit come and like rip everything out of the walls and moved to the apartment downstairs that I found that when I found was open and it wouldn't lock behind me. And I had been praying, like, please God, open the doors that are meant for me, close the doors that no longer serve me. And this apartment became my womb, my cocoon, my place for healing. And leaving him was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I was so enmeshed in it, so attached to it, so anxiously attached, avoidant attached, working through all of these storylines, but not getting anywhere. We had a lot of problems communicating. Fundamentally, it felt like we wanted the same thing, but we couldn't agree on anything. And there were nights that he didn't come home because he was partying. But he wouldn't explain that to me, so I just thought he was cheating on me. All that to say that 1 year ago, I chose me. And I say that with gusto, with chutzpah, because choosing me didn't mean I wasn't choosing him. It meant that I knew that I had more work to do to heal. And that the environment and the way that things were shaping between the two of us, everything that in the way that in which it was going was no longer working for me. And I had flatlined. And we could have gone to therapy. And ironically, I'd reached out to therapists and they didn't get back to me until after we broke up. The universe was guiding me home away from him. So I left and I chose me. And in the past year, I've dated a bit, but predominantly, I didn't just date me. I needed to dig into, understand me, uproot all of me so that I could really learn myself solo and learn to love myself wholly. Not just date me this time, marry me. Let me explain what I mean. In all of my past relationships, I've been raised, society raises women to think that they need a man, that they need to get married, that they need to just look for that. That is the answer, like date for the wedding. And so that's what I did. And when I would get out of one relationship, I would jump into the next. And it was just another crutch, another way to fill my time, fill my space, look for reason and purpose and meaning in life in terms of like being someone's girlfriend or potentially their wife. And this time, I didn't go into my default. I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet and understand me. Relationship is a really powerful tool because it provides this like lens of reflection. Whatever triggered me about him was really about me. It's always about like pointing the finger back around. And I was an asshole. There was a lot of things I didn't do and I did do that I'm not proud of. What I am proud of is knowing full and well clear that I needed to leave that experience so that I can invest in me. And a year of celibacy. I don't even know how to, if I know how to kiss. I'm sure I know how to kiss, but like, I really wanted to go into me. So my advice is take it or leave it. If you've had or been on this cycle of dating and you are single, be single. Be single and get to know yourself. Get to know yourself outside of intimacy. Get to know yourself intimately. Intimacy means intimacy. So I did just that. I sat with the anger first after leaving. Then I sat with the pain, the regret, and then the grief of losing my best friend, losing my partner, all of the fear and the sadness and the coulda, shoulda, woulda, the potential. And then when all of that subsided and the noise got quiet, I remembered that I had me. What do we have if not ourselves? We put so much pressure in playing the game. I stopped fucking playing because it wasn't working. And in the past year, I've leaned into the quiet moments. into this like beautiful cocoon, this apartment that's held me, into this beautiful body that I never respected or really loved, but gave away willingly to please a man. Instead, learned how to really please myself. A year of celibacy. Well, what I've learned in a lot of deep practice is that sexual energy is life force energy, it's creative energy. And when I've been in relationship in the past, specifically my past relationship was very sexual, it was almost like I was leaking the sexual energy. So I was attracting like that, people who wanted my sexual energy, because that's what I was giving off. I was sexualizing myself. And in my past relationship, it was so hypersexualized that was really what was keeping us together. And just as we were breaking up, the sex got better. And that usually happens. But because there was all of this leaky sexual energy, I really couldn't commit to me or create. And because I was so fixated on what the relationship wasn't and what wasn't working, I couldn't actually think to create. So back to sexual energy, life force energy, celibacy. When you're like holding on to that, it gets stronger. And you're almost like using this kundalini energy to sort of like harness your strength. And so in the past year, in choosing to not sex anybody but me, I've curated this like really brilliant strength within. I feel it. And I feel it in a way of like I can use it to propel me forward, to work on projects, to hone my own creativity without leaking it into some sort of intimacy. Do I miss it? Yes, sure. I really long for my partner, and I long to be in that intimate container again because there's so much to learn. But now I will enter into one from a place of have, not need. In the past, I've always entered into relationships with need. Need. I need you. I love you. I need you. Like, pick me. And now everything I do is from, I focus on this, is from a place of have. I'm not seeking out to fill someone else's cup. Me first. Now, like all relationships take work. So when I say I left my past relationship, I chose to stop working. I chose not to continue trying because something in me knew that it was not right for me. I was no longer meant to move forward. So where I am now, single for a year, chose celibacy. Everything I do, I ask myself, is this an act of self-love? Do I want to go out on a date with him? Is this an act of self-love, or do I need to go on a date? Do I need to get married? When we come from a place of need, I'm going to say it again, we attract something that needs to be needed. There's this like unwell energy almost, and I don't show up like that anymore. Before I leave the house, I literally say to myself, I will not accept lesser crowns. So if I'm out with a man who sexualizes me, or I don't feel valued around, or only speaks about himself, I take note of it. And I also know like I will not accept lesser crowns. Why is that different now than before? Because I have what I need, and I know that now. And I think I finally came to this place of if I don't meet him, it's okay, because I love my own company. Because I can die knowing that I've chosen me. And so when I meet him, because I know that I will, I'm not only going to choose him, but I'm also going to choose me, and he's going to choose me, but also choose him. We're both going to be so in love with ourselves. Sounds narcissistic, but I don't think it is. I think it's just knowing your value. knowing that you have what you need so you don't seek someone else to fill your cup. And the sex stuff, I value my body more than anything, more than I ever have. And I will not give that away or share it with anybody. I think sex is the most intimate form of connection, literally someone else entering your body. And we don't take it seriously enough. That energetic exchange, that person's energy stays with you, stays in you. It is potent, and it can be medicine and healing and beautiful and creative and transcendental and tantric and everything else. And it can also be harmful if you're creating that energy with someone who's not in alignment with your highest self. So, in the past year of being single and being celibate, I have learned to love myself wholly. I've not just dated myself, but married me. I've learned to value my time, my space, my body, my company. I've learned to hone my sexual energy and to create from a space of grounded, rooted expansiveness instead of this confines of the mind. We think we create from our head. We don't. We create from our root. That's where life comes from. And I've landed in this place of knowing that if it's not an act of self-love, I don't want any of it. Meaning I'm not going to go out on a second date if it doesn't fill me. I'm not going to go for a drink with someone and then they say, do you want to go to dinner? And if I don't, I'm not going to say yes. Because if I say yes, I'm abandoning myself. And that is not a form of self-love. And if at any point anything gets like tricky or feels insulting or whatever else, I have to check back in and remember, Olivia, you will not accept lesser crowns. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling lonely or unsure of what your relationship is, or if you should continue going forward with it, just check into your heart, not your head, not your age, or you need to get married, or he's a good guy, or she's really hot, or your mom likes her. Check into your heart, check into your body. How does it feel when you're around the person? Do you feel safe? Do you feel seen? Do you feel loved? And men, check in with yourself. In your own company, do you feel safe? Do you feel seen? And do you feel loved? And in this year of celibacy, I tapped into a really, really deep practice of, although I'm not sharing my seed with anyone else, my secret is a pleasure practice that has completely recreated my relationship to me. Stay tuned for more on that, my next pod. And I'll leave you with this. I didn't actually know like how my body was in relation to like attraction and man, because I've gone out with a couple guys and I haven't really felt it. And then the universe served me yesterday and I was just like getting a pack of gum at the corner store. This guy pulled up, I saw him, he saw me, we exchanged pleasantries and my whole body lit up like a Christmas tree. And I was like, okay, back online. And that was almost my hit of like, everything works, which I already knew, but I mean, in relation to someone else, and you're ready to go find them or let it find you. So I surrender fully to whatever is in store coming to me, and I welcome it with open arms and all the electricity, because these bodies are deeply, deeply feeling. And I've shared a lot about my background with sexual trauma and assault and dissociation. And coming back home to my body has been such an incredible gift and a constant practice of staying present. And for my next book, I think it's going to be called a Trauma Survivor's Guide to Intimacy. So stay tuned for that too. Rate, listen, subscribe, send to friends, ask questions if you're curious about what celibacy feels like, and choosing to step out of the game for a little while. I can tell you, I'm happy to answer your questions. Much love.